Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Okay, so in this photograph, you're sitting at a table. It's a red covered table. Maybe it was the same day of the previous photograph. So, but behind you is like some black paneling, and there are all these book covers, and they're all graced with your name, and it's got to be, you must have such starstruck children come up to you and say like, are you real? Like, describe this photograph. Like, why? How does this resonate with your audience?
So this photograph, it was at a book signing. I was speaking at a school in Mississippi. I had to think about where that was. And the school had set up, it's like a cloth background, and someone, and I think it was either a teacher or a librarian, had gone to the effort of like photocopying the covers of most, if not all, of my books, and then putting them up on this, the black cloth behind me.
It's amazing.
I mean, I was there at the school for about maybe an hour and a half.
Wow.
I mean, they went to a lot of effort, which, I mean, I cannot say enough about amazing teachers and librarians, and they are incredible, and they don't get enough credit. But anyhow, the school had done this to have a backdrop for me to do after I'd given a speech. Then I was signing books for kids as they came up. And I love that because then I have a little bit of chance to talk to the kids.
Sure.
And sometimes sometimes they want to be writers and we get to talk about that. Sometimes they have something, a question they want to ask or something they want to say privately about the book, something that was meaningful to them. That's all wonderful. But the thing that I love about this particular picture, which was taken by someone from the bookstore in Jackson, Mississippi, Lemuria, the thing that I love about it is because there's that black backdrop and then, the covers of the books, I feel like it almost looks like that's my thought cloud.
Okay.
That, like I've got all these books circling my head. And that's what it feels like to be a writer.
Right.
That there are all these, like ideas in the air above me, and usually people don't see it.
Yeah.
But, like all these things that I'm thinking about that it's fun to be able to share that with other people. But it felt like that was just such a great manifestation of what it feels like to be a writer. But the other thing about this picture, and this ties into what I said at the beginning when you asked me to say what I thought about photography, and I said sometimes pictures lie.
Okay.
This picture is kind of a lie because as you were describing it, I mean, it's true. It really happened. It is a representation of that moment, but it's also a lie. And, something can be a truth and a lie at the same time in some ways, but that was in September, and I had a really bad summer. One of the things that had happened that summer leading into that event was that I had broken my left wrist, and all these people said to me, "Oh, it's so great that you broke your left wrist because then you can still use your dominant hand."
You're
and I'm
left-handed.
Like, no, I'm left-handed. I broke my dominant wrist.
Yeah.
And so I had broken my wrist and had to have a metal plate put in my wrist to put it back together. And had gone through, it sounds like you've had a much greater medical ordeal in terms of getting back to normal after having some catastrophic problem. And the broken wrist was not catastrophic, but I was also in the midst of switching publishers and I was really agonizing about all of that. And so then my wrist was broken. This was the first event that I was doing where I was doing a book signing. And so basically the doctor had said to me, you need to wear, like, I was still wearing like a splint on my hand and on my arm. He's like, you need to do that almost 24/7, but if you feel like you can take it off to write, you can't really do it while writing my name. he said, you are well enough that you can take it off and you should be able to write. And so it was like kind of this, like, for the very first time, again, I can sign my name. And
you're beaming.
So it was, I mean, it looks like this like glorious moment, which in one way it was, but in another moment, like I look at that and I remember there was a lot of pain. There was a lot of physical therapy to get my wrist back into shape. And I think that's, I'll tie this to writing, that I think we're increasingly moving toward being more of a visual society, that there, you know, people share pictures on Instagram and you react to the picture. You don't necessarily react to the story behind it.
Sure.
We look at video to say, oh, that's what's going on. And I'm not criticizing either of those things necessarily, but you don't know what's going on inside people's heads and hearts.
Sure.
Just looking at a picture.
Yep.
Or just looking at video. And that's what I think writing and books are important for, that we can share what's on our insides.
Yep.
And I mean, I love the format of your podcast, that you're taking pictures that people could just look at, and then you're asking for the story behind it.
Sure.
And that's kind of what writing in general is, that we're saying, okay, here's this thing, and I'm going to give you a 200-page novel to explain what's behind it.
Absolutely. Okay. My daughter is going to absolutely love the fact that you're left-handed, because she's left-handed. So she's going to be like, oh, that's fun. Okay, so she...
Good for her.
I love that here's this photograph with these, as you say, like a thought cloud around you of these hovering book covers. And every book is, in and of itself, I mean, even though if it's part of a series, is fine. But as a writer, you're trying to do is you're creating this narrative that is complete in and of itself. What I love about this photo is that for somebody who's looking at what is the process of writing a book or a novel, and then watching, like, here, like, you look so approachable, you look so human, you look so normal, you look so nice, so perfect. Would you like to share one more bit of insight that looking back you can use to inspire other people, either young writers or even mature people who have never written a book, who are like in their 40s or 50s or 60s, who want to, give it a try? What would you say?
Sure. There are many things I could say. I'll start with the people who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, as the first thing, just because that's right there. I know that there's kind of I'll even go younger, 20s and 30s too, because I think there's almost a sense among a lot of younger people and people 50s, 60s, 70s, that there's like this moment in time that if you don't succeed at that point, you're never going to succeed at writing. That there are a lot of people who come out of university programs and maybe they've gotten a creative writing degree and they think, if I don't make it in the first year or two, that's it, I'm not a writer. Or there are people who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, who are like, well, I always wanted to be a writer, but I didn't do it. And so forget it. It's not ever going to happen. That is one of the great things about writing, that you can do it at any age. And it's not like, say, being a gymnast where you do miss, you're just not capable of doing that after a certain age. That writing, in some ways, hopefully the older we all get, the wiser we all get. I'm not sure that always works that way, but that would be kind of the goal, that sometimes you need to grow into being a writer, and it's okay to not have that happen until later. For younger people who want to write, I would say, I feel like we have done this thing to kids where we have made them think often that if they are not instantly good at something, they're not ever going to be good at it. That
right.
We put a lot of pressure on kids nowadays. And
Okay.
I would like to see kids be able to explore a lot of different things and have fun with a lot of different things, and even like do things that you're bad at.
Sure.
And just have fun with it. And it's okay to be bad at something. Just, don't expect to have everybody say that's the greatest thing ever when it's not. But explore. Being a kid is a good time to explore.
Yeah.
And to just have fun with things.
Yeah.
And I would just love to see kids doing that a lot.
For sure. Margaret, look, I know we were plagued a little bit by some technical difficulties. We are separated by a very large distance.
Exactly. And it is actually a miracle that technology works as well as it does.
It's amazing. Yeah, I really appreciate you meeting with me, and I really hope that it like with these podcasts, it's very hard. It's what's like with a book. You create it, and you hope that it will resonate, and you hope that it'll be successful. You seem to have figured out how to make really readable books. They're fantastic. And who knows, maybe the podcast one day will become something that people will enjoy. But I definitely hope that even one kid who listens to this, who goes, oh, like it's demystified, will think, well, yeah, I'm going to go down that road.
Yeah.
So that's not a question. That's just me saying thank you.
That's yeah. Well, thank you. Enjoyed talking with you and your daughter. Please tell her that I really hope that she continues to enjoy both reading and writing, and I look forward to hearing what all she does.
For
with
sure.
that.
Well, Margaret, thank you so much. Best of health to you and to everyone in your life. So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting.